Welcome back to part 2 of Snowman using Blender. I didn't want that first video to be so long, but it was, so we'll try to go a little shorter with this one. Last thing we did is we made a hat, and I'm going to right click on the cylinder, and I'm going to go to materials over here, and I'm going to add a new material, and I'm just going to make it black. And I'll just take the color down, whatever it is, and just take it down to a black color. That should be all I have to do. And then I could right click on the brim, and I shouldn't have to go new. I should just be able to select the black one, and luckily it shows up black here, so I know that's the right one. And now we have kind of a black hat here. And then also, if I zoom in here, other things you might want to throw in here, you could throw in some eyes, and you could, whatever you want to do, you could just make a brand new one. I'll just add a mesh UV sphere. Now, let's see where that is. Here it is. And it's huge. And I'm not even sure where it is. There it is. And we're going to put it on its face to be eyes. And then we'll put a nose there. And I'll hit my S key, scale it down, make it real small. Then I'll zoom in. And I'll bring it over. And you can see I have the camera right here. So this is about where I want it. And I'm not sure, it's probably too far from its face. So let me kind of wedge it in a little bit. And then I kind of know it's kind of embedded. Bring it out a little. So I'll kind of use both of these to kind of get it to where I want. And you can see it goes all the way in. So I'll do it right there, and then I'll duplicate this one. I can hit duplicate, and I'll keep it right close by, and I'll left click. And that's probably pretty good right where it is. And I'm going to give it the same material as the hat. Same thing with this one. And I didn't smooth these, but I could smooth them out, just like I could smooth the hat. I didn't smooth any of these things. And I'm, again, right-clicking every time I do that. Now we're going to put a nose on them. And to do that, we're going to make a cone. So we're going to go down to Add, Mesh, and we're going to choose Cone. Now we'll go find the cone. There it is. And I'll try to get it close to him. There it is. Let's see where we're at. I'll get it a little bit closer to him. And that's a very big cone for a nose. And what we want to do is we want to rotate it. So we could use this tool down here, or this modifier, and I'll modify it, kind of rotate it on the x-axis, and then go back to the arrow so I can kind of move it into place. I'll even want to hit my S key and scale it down, make it nice and small. Left click when I'm done. Now you can see it's not turned in the right direction. If I kind of go where the camera is, I need to turn it again. So I'll rotate it again, and I'll rotate it on the z-axis this time. So it kind of goes and faces the camera. It's kind of where I want his nose. And then while I'm there, I'm going to hit the scale one and maybe kind of just stretch it out so to make it a little kind of longer. And then probably hit S and scale the whole thing down a little bit. Left click. So let me kind of zoom into that a little bit. You know, it looks a little squashed for some reason. Let me just stretch it up and move around here. And you see it's not even on his face, so I got to move it closer to his face. And I got to kind of work around here with these two. And that's pretty close. That's not too bad for a nose on a snowman. Just want to make sure it's kind of attached, so make sure it's going in a little bit into the snowman. I'll bring it up just a little bit in case you wanted to put a mouth on him. And I'll give him a new texture. Make sure the cone's selected, and it does look like it is. And I'll give a new texture, and I'll just give it kind of an orangey color. And that should be good. That's like a carrot kind of thing, and that's about all I want right now. So I'll zoom out, and I'll just render it, see where I'm at. Looking pretty good. And the last thing I'm going to do is just put some arms on them. I'll go back to 3D view, and to put some arms on them, I'll just make kind of thin cylinders. So I'll put like maybe a wood texture. So I'll go to Add Mesh, and this thing kind of jumps around if you don't keep your mouse right on it. I'll just use a cylinder, and there's my cylinder, and I'll use my scale things to make it really long to start, and then I'll hit S and make it a lot smaller. and left click, and then stretch it out again. So it's, and then hit S again, so it's more like a stick. Now I'll go back to my arrow so I can move it. Now I'm not sure where I'm at, so I got to zoom out a little bit. And I'm just kind of scrolling, and I can see there's my stick. So I'll kind of move it over to where the snowman is, kind of get it into place. And now zoom in a little bit, and it still looks a little, that's kind of not a bad place for it to be. It still looks a little big, so I still might kind of stretch it out to make it longer, and then hit S to kind of scale the whole thing down, and left click. And then I'll give it a texture. I'll give it a material first, and I'll just give it like a brown color. You know, just make it a little darker, kind of like a dark orange. If I keep going darker, it'll be brown. And then I'll even go to texture, and I'll hit new, and I'll choose wood. Now there's different options for wood that you could use here. They have saw, I don't know, I'll try saw, see how that looks. It's not going to look that detailed on a piece of, on a stick like that, because it's so thin. But I'll even go down here, make sure that color, that pink color is in it. I'm not sure why that's there by default, but I'll go here and maybe just kind of make it more of a, like an off-white color. And I don't need any geometry on it, so I don't necessarily need it to look textured. But I'm going to render it and just see what it looks like so far. And there's my wood, and that kind of looks like wood. That's about what I would want. So we just got to put it in place, make it look like it's sticking out of them, like an arm. So I just need to rotate it, and I'm just going to rotate it kind of that way, and that looks pretty good. It's kind of sticking into his body there. That's kind of what I want. I can rotate it out a little bit, and then I'll use my arrows to kind of move it up. And I can move it into his body a little bit, and that's good. I don't want any, you could add more sticks to that if you want it to look like a branch or something, but that's all I want. And then now that I have this, I could just duplicate it. And I'll just kind of move it over here and left click. And then it's going to rotate the other way, so I'll hit the rotate, and it should just go back that way. And it's not really in his body yet, so I got to see where I'm at. And you can see I'm kind of in front of the body. I'll even rotate on the Z-axis a little bit, and then I'll use my arrows and just kind of move it back. And I'm not sure where I am, so I'll go back to the front. And I don't want it exactly the same, so maybe I'll make one down a little bit. Looks like it needs to almost come forward a little bit. And that looks like a nice snowman. And I'll render it. Now if I want things a little brighter, what I could do is I can click on my lamp. I have my lamp up here, and you'll see, and then you got to click here, and they have some options here. They have energy. You can make it a little bit brighter. Now it may bleach it out a little bit, so you might want to check it out. Now it's getting a little bleachy, so you don't want to go too much. But that looks pretty good. And I might want to, it just kind of fix my grid a little bit, because I might want to extend it just so, you know, obviously it doesn't look like real snow right now, but I could extend it a little bit. So I'll go back to 3D view, and I guess that I'm kind of seeing that corner there. So if I right click there and I hit scale, I can kind of scale it out a little bit, and that should help things. So if I render it, maybe I won't see that corner at least. That looks a little better, and that's kind of what I want. That's kind of what I'm looking for this snowman exercise. I'm not expecting much more than that. And I think I'll just go back to my lamp again. Just looks still looks a little bright. And I'll render it again. And that looks pretty good. Happy with that snowman for now. Again, you can move your camera around, try different things, go up and down. If you wanted your camera to go down, you could kind of physically move it down. You know, you could go in your view, you could go back to 3D view. If you wanted to physically move your camera, you could right click on it and use your arrows and just kind of move the arrow camera down a little bit. Now then you'd want to view through the camera. You'd be like, oh, I need to aim up a little, and that's when you can go over here and click on camera, click on the movie camera thing here, and just adjust your X a little bit. Now you're not seeing the whole thing, but you could try and zoom out. a little bit. And then adjust your Y a little bit more. And now he's kind of cropped in there a little bit. I'll render it one more time. And that looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. So I'm going to first of all go back to 3D view. And I'll save my Blender file. That'll save my Snowman Blender file, the BLEND file. And then what I'll do is I'll render it one more time. And this is the one I want to save and turn in. And what you could do is you could just go down here where it says image and save as image. And it's a PNG file, so it's an image file. And I'll just call it Snowman. And I'll just put a V on it. Now it's a PNG, so I don't have to, I could keep it the same name because they have different extensions. So I'll just call it Snowman V. It's my image, and I'll just save as image. And then if I want to upload that, I could go to my Warren, and I could go into our course. Whichever course, I'll just go into C1 for now, and I'll go into coursework. I'll look for the Snowman, if I have one here to look at. Should be like Unit 12, Blender Snowman. And I already have one here, so I'll add a new one. This is an older one, and that one isn't very good. It's a very big hat. The one I did this time is a little bit better, so I'll add a comment. Just to show you how to do this, you just go to not insert link. What you're going to do is actually say insert image and go find it. And you have to upload it because it's not in this Moxie Manager thing. And mine, I think, is in C1, Notes. Yeah, there it is. It's called, no, I don't want the blend. I want this one, Snowman V PNG. This is the one I want. There's my file. And I'm going to upload that one. And I'll hit insert, and if it says 960, that's pretty big. You might want to take it down to like 500, even right here. It'll do it in proportion, so you don't have to change both numbers if you just hit OK. Now you could, after this, then you can scale it even more if you want, but it's kind of hard to, you got to scale both ways to find the corners to scale it, and then in here you have to like highlight it in order to get these like corner things. But once it's in there, you're good. So I'm just going to save that. And that's all you have to do to turn it in. That's basically my second comment there. I'll have to scroll here, and there's my first one, there's my second one. I could delete this one. This one wasn't very good. So now this is my main one, a lot better picture there. So that's all you have to do to turn it in. So hopefully you'll get familiar with working with Blender. We'll try to do a little bit more with textures and things like that, but that's kind of a good start to get your feel for 3D view and kind of rendering and saving your image and moving things around and adding some materials and textures.